Yes, welcome to Keeping the Ball on the Ground. What's happening, lads? I've missed yous.
How are you, mate? How did that day as the host last week?
I never watched it.
Did you not bother watching it?
I couldn't watch. I was too busy watching the big man. He was brilliant as Buzz and Home Alone. No, I heard you done great though.
I did a message. Obviously, I messaged him to see how he went with his. He had a reaction to the lip fillers, so obviously that's why he wasn't here.
Mate, it's so nervous though, being a host. It's alright when you get going because the pressure's on the guest to produce, innit? So you can almost sit back, relax. But at the start, mate, try to be serious. It's horrible. Mate, I've actually, mate, genuinely, right, I says, I'm worried about my head.
Huh?
Mate, it just keeps going blank, like utterly blank, like complete and utter confusion. And
Is that the same as always now?
But mate, it's the worst it's ever been. That's what I was saying yesterday, mate, right? I met a guy. Mate, if there's any doctors or MD out there, I want a one-to-one with you.
Right.
Don't put me into a what's that called? A surgeon, the waiting room. Don't want to sit that.
Right, what, just straight through into the doctor?
Straight in.
Into the doctor's
But make sure there's a lot of them there. So
and there needs to be a nice looking receptionist on.
And a nice looking doctor, no. And, but no, I need to go in because my head's always been, I hate people who say that anybody says they're mental, I'm the mental. Let's get that out there.
But like David Brenton, innit? I'm mental,
do you know what I mean? But so I'm not saying that, but my head is bizarre. I can't deal with it sometimes. No, in a good way. Do you know what I mean? Even though I feel myself rattling, but I need to get to the bottom of this because the last few weeks, mate, it's just got utterly blank, like nothing there. So I was talking to let me call it a loser yesterday, right? I'm going to say, I shouldn't say it was a guy I met. It was a guy I'd not seen for years. We went to my school, and that tells you my head wasn't right that I stopped and talked to him. But I was talking to him. He was like, right away, we're like, it's nice to see you. We'll go and grab a coffee then now. So we're walking along Anderson. I'm not saying Finnison. Anderson. We're walking along Anderson, and mate, he's like, I don't know what he's meant like that. Oh mate, I'll catch you later on. And I'm like, what the fuck? But then mate, the 2 minutes.
You never listen to a word he said.
I didn't hear a word he said.
You do it all the time, though.
But what is it? I don't even realise I'm doing it, mate. You've been a victim.
I've been a victim of it for 2 years.
But I don't mean it, mate. I genuinely
don't. It's only losers that you did,
mate, I can't believe it's such 3 back again.
I know, it's like old times, isn't it?
I know, it's much better than Andy not being here.
I did notice, so last week we were leading, you were like a leader, but you had the snooze in. You know, you reminded us of... Lenny. So if you're going to be Lenny, mate, there's only one man I can be, isn't there?
What's on it?
Tell that in the camera.
So while I've been off, right? I hate to name drop, but while I've been off, I've been speaking to Capaldi. Right. Capaldi's loving the show, by the way. He's all over it now. Right, so anyway, he sent me this picture. This was a late night.
Get that in the camera. Turn that around.
And he said, how much does my mate look like Paul Slane? Which he does. Yeah. But then, mate, I've clocked it straight away, saying, how much does Lewis Capaldi look like Slane's man?
That's genius.
I actually was going to say that he's dyed his hair.
My love, my love, my love, my love, won't you stay away? Brilliant. Oh, we'll keep the laptop up.
I'll keep it up because we might need to use that during the podcast at times. If things are going wrong, we'll turn to that.
If we make a we'll turn to the laptop.
Aye, because that'll obviously give us the answers.
And you used to work in ASOS, didn't you? You were a big member of ASOS,
ASOS Marketplace.
So if you can speak to somebody, ordered the Frosties, unbelievable. I shouldn't have said that because people copy me now. So I bought that side. It's on the back.
Stupid.
Well, you're not going to buy something and put it in the back, so I've turned it in at the front, mate. Looking good, isn't it?
It's no great.
You know who should wear that? No bad, Kev. I remember we were talking about Gary Anderson. Do you remember when somebody asked him if he farted on stage?
Oh,
that was amazing. Wasn't it me that fucking farted? Do you remember? You could put your finger at my arse and smell it, he said.
Have
you not seen that?
I remember the time because he was going mental in it, wasn't he?
But farting on stage,
Mate, he lives with fucking parrots and all that, didn't he? Genuinely. Like budgies and parrots and all that, Gary Anderson. He'd actually be decent to get on. Mate,
he's a big Hibs guy, so we could do a Hearts Hibs fucking dart special.
I was actually getting messages for Rangers fans saying that I never came in, same as you, scared.
Oh no.
Hiding under the bed because Celtic got beat. Andy's not here either.
Mate, suppose he cracked jig, didn't he?
He cracked jig.
Don't know where that came from.
Oh, sake.
Oh, no, he's not here because he's getting a haircut, isn't he? Getting a final haircut. He's getting it cut at 12 o'clock. It'll be finished by about 5 past.
Suppose it's like the whole everybody in the hairdressers are clapping. It's a big headache because he's the last ever haircut of the day, innit? He's getting guided in, they're all clapping, man.
I actually thought with the right time he's wearing that hat that he was secretly getting a transplant.
I thought he would.
I mean, what an episode that would be, his final haircut, wouldn't it? I was all watching it.
Who can we get to cut it?
I don't need anybody with any particular skills because it's fucked.
It's just somebody that can blow quite hard, isn't it?
I know a few of them.
Right, here we go, Rangers. They're flying, aren't they?
They are, sorry.
No, never played great yesterday, Kev, but hard place to go to Halliday to get the 2-1 win.
I think we said that last season when Celtic were only playing great, they were still getting the results. Rangers are doing exactly that. Tough place. That was the first time they were at Tannadice in 8 years. Long time. So to go there and get the... See, Dundee United, to be fair, Dundee
United... First time they were at Tannadice in 8 years? Oh, one, so. Sorry?
No, first time they played.
Oh, because United have been at the league, sorry, right?
United okay. The league, Rangers were obviously...
Great start.
Aye, so... but Dundee United actually not a bad side when they go forward. Well organised, they pass it about, pop it about. I think just individual errors on their behalf in terms of being rash, trying to win the ball when sometimes you better just stay still, which allowed Rangers a couple of free kicks and great delivery, Tavernier, great finish, Goldson, good header. But tough place to go for any team, but they'll be happy just to get the 3 points. That's all they were aiming for.
Slaney, free kick, is it one of the goals? Will it be one of the goals of the season?
Unbelievable. Exactly. It was exactly like Nakamura's v Man U. Only that Van der Sar had no chance.
Was it other side as well?
On the other side, aye. And he was left footed. Nakamura. No, what a free kick, Simon. For that range, usually this is what I would say.
Were you a free kick taker?
I mean, I was unbelievable in training at free kicks. Danny McGrain.
As in shooting, like Danny McGrain on goals?
I bet you could get it up and down, could you, Slaney?
Absolutely. Here, no, mate, this one. Remember, when I first went to Celtic, right? I was used to practice free kicks all the time at Motherwell and then done the same at Celtic. But Danny McGrain clocked onto it, and every time about a day it came out to me, I was like, you need to change your technique. So, mate, for about an hour, generally, all the boys were up the gym, watching him try to tell me to take free kicks. I was like, Danny, just leave it. Do you know what I mean? But it's a shocking story, but that was it.
No, that's a good story. So, wait, you and Danny McGrain were out hitting free kicks?
Aye, but mate, genuinely...
You can't kick the ball harder than 5 yards.
Remember Danny had the wee hole in his toe, his boots, he cut the wee hole. But mate, mate, thinking of that, like, for
me... Don't think that wee hole was fun.
So I was thinking of that, right? For me, as a young boy growing up Celtic fan, Danny McGrain taking me for free kicks. That is unreal though, isn't it? Like, mate, that's something as a guy, but what had happened was when I got injured, I remember the boys, after training, were all trying to sprint in, and there was always the new signing, get caught with him. Do you know what I mean?
You would always get the new signing at the end, wouldn't you?
But no, mate, what I was saying at the Tavernier free kick is, see for that range, I usually think when it goes in for there, the keeper's questionable. With that one, I think it was that good a free kick. You
agree with that, Kev? You think he was too far over at one side?
I'm not going to take away from the fact that Tavernier has hit an unbelievable free kick, right? It was amazing. But when you're that far away, I would question, could he maybe have been a step in the middle of the goal? He could have been, and Tavernier probably still would have got it in the top corner. I'm not going to take away the quality of the free kick. It was amazing because it was the height he got it, for it to come down. The goalkeeper for me was maybe one step away from getting a touch on it. A touch on it that might not have saved it. Yeah. Let's not get that. I'm just saying that when you're closer to the goal, taking a free kick, you're hoping your wall protects one half and you protect the other half. When you're that far away, 35 yards, maybe.
I do think...
Did you ever put Danny McGrain on a wall?
Absolutely.
No, would you ever put him as a wall and you would hit round them?
No, but he used to lay the mannequins out.
Right.
And he used to say, you need to aim for there. But, mate, I was always... So there was two mannequins, but he put a mannequin there and a mannequin there with nothing in the middle. And I'm like, Danny, there's never been a wall with just one guy and then a guy there in the middle.
There was, because when I used to do free kicks at Sunderland, they always used to say to me, Ken, come to do free kicks. So I'd always go and do free kicks, but they would just say, stand there and be the wall.
Nah, you're that big.
Oh, you just did
that was just the ball. That was just the ball. Stood there.
But here, I'm going to be a wee bit serious here on goalkeepers because I never got on with goalkeepers when I played football. Didn't like them at all.
Yeah, weirdos.
I like weirdos, but no that type of weirdo. Yeah. I actually buzz off a weirdo, but with them, they were a strange bunch.
You need to check their boot in that type of weirdo.
Oh, mate, I didn't like it. But I would always, I want to maybe get a goalie on here one day, preferably Stevie Woods, to question the man. If he's an ego or a man, but that's not to do with a bald ego. But not to do with that, Simon. With Stevie Woods, I love to sit him down, and as a free kick, why doesn't a keeper stone me in the middle? Like, I get but players can hit it the ball.
Well, yeah.
So it's a lot of nonsense.
I don't want the reaction to be that I'm disrespecting Tavernier's free kick because it was quality. But if you take away the wall and ask him to hit a shot for 35 yards, you would fancy
the keeper to save it.
Keeper to save it. So
Yeah, I get what you're saying.
that's just how I know disrespect because it was
Technique's frightening, isn't it?
Technique was brilliant, and that's the confidence the guy's going through the now.
See, when you were saying about you had to be in a wall for training, what's the worst you've ever heard of somebody having to do something in training?
Oh, mate.
See, when we were younger, mate, we used to miss youth team training to ball boy for the first team.
Did you, aye?
Wow. Miss training, mate. And I remember Gordon Strachan made two boys miss a youth team training to be linesman for the first team.
Oh my God.
Wow, that does happen.
Terrible.
It's when you're a resi player, it happens all the time, innit? And
The
it's
worst though, mate, innit?
But mate, there's something that's happened to me before, and I can't actually remember exactly what, but through the show, I'll come back to you on that.
What, somebody made you be a linesman?
No, it was something like, as you said, I think it was a sub. That's happened before where people are sub in training. It's heartbreaking, innit?
That's shocking, isn't it?
Sub in training.
Like,
The only things we ever did like was at Sunderland, if you pumped the fucking balls up too hard, the manager would make the goalkeepers kick them up and you had to head them on the way down.
All right.
And then the other thing was if you were really shit, the gaffer, Peter Reid, the first team manager, would make you hoover his car out.
Would you?
Aye.
See anything, finding any of his motor?
Nah, you look for the fucking coin tray to see there was any 20s in it.
mate, I remember
Fuck all.
I was a reserve game for remember Gunnar Nielsen, big Gunnar Nielsen.
Uh-huh.
No?
Who's Gunnar Nielsen?
He was at Motherwell and I think
Oh yeah, I don't know who you're talking about.
I think he was training, I'm sure he was training with Celtic. Don't know if he signed with him.
Right.
But mate, one of the reserve games, there was no goalie coach. Melly didn't turn up. Melly was with the first team.
Melly's a good lad, isn't he?
Melly's like, I'm sure before we left, he was like, who's on the bench today? And it was like me and maybe 5 others or whatever. And he's like, you're warming Gunnar up. But mate, no word alive.
Wait, you won the goal up for a first team game?
No, it was a reserve game.
Right.
But mate, no word of a lie here, that was the worst feeling ever, mate. But I was 15, right? I could not, see when you kick it,
volley it.
I couldn't kick it into his hands, mate, and he was fucking going mental. But mate, that way, knew I could do it easy, but see then, that was so hard, mate, and see then, he's like, right, go and put crosses in. Mate, I was trying to clip up, and I was like, what am I doing here? Mate, it was horrible. Mate, I think that might have been the worst, but I'm sure there was something training as well, mate. Don't know.
Oh, it's nothing worse.
Okay.
Tavernier, best right backs in Britain. You speak about it last week.
I
would say he was bottom half Premier League.
Right.
What would you say? I think he could play for Newcastle.
I don't think we said last week that he was the best, one of the best right backs. I think his stats are, Andy had mentioned his stats, what is it, 17 goals, 13 assists, which for a right back is incredible. Would you be able to do that in the English Premier League? Maybe not as easy, but certainly let's know. I think for times Tavernier's coming for a bit of stick when things aren't going well, but things are going great now. So let's praise him. He is performing well, but at the same time, for all his attacking ability going forward, a right back's obviously judged on his defending sometimes, and Rangers have had to defend as much because of the way they're playing. No, really. So he's benefiting from that.
I played with the Leeds right back, Luke Aylan. I think Tavernier's a better player than him.
I
can't believe he's playing the Premier League. He's done very well. Obviously, Bielsa's made him a lot better, but in terms of ability-wise, I'd say Tavernier was better.
I think Tav would...
Tav, right?
Aye. I played
You got your Rangers hat
with
on,
MK Dons.
Did you?
Aye.
Did you?
No, you never.
Swear to God, aye.
So were you right wing and he was right back?
Aye.
You were him in the goalie up?
Aye, I never ever fucking played. He was... but with him... With Leeds, mate, I think he'd be brunk with him.
I'd suit him in at Leeds.
His style.
That's
Looking forward, definitely good shout. There's no reason why he couldn't play in the Premier League.
But I think, mate, looking at it, these teams in England will be certainly sniffing about him now, and I hope they put a bid in. I do.
Is he sniffing about?
I love seeing absolutely. I love seeing these players in Scotland go down to England, so that's why I want him to go.
Everyone that goes down does.
That's why I want to see
John
him.
McGinn, new 5-year deal.
I think it'd be stupid not to go. There you go.
In January.
What you get with Tavernier is even if he doesn't score as many goals, it's the quality of his delivery from assists.
Mate, I got slaughtered for saying he was the best crosser of the bought Rangers. He's the best crosser by a mile now.
Of course he is.
In the league? Aye, 100%.
Morelos, elbow on Conley. Stephen Gerrard said there was no elbow, wasn't a red card. What did you think?
Well, he said he's seen it in the game live, he hadn't seen it. He's just covering Morelos here because there's no way at half time maybe he never seen it, but somebody in his staff has came up.
There it is.
Somebody in his staff has got the laptop and said, you need to be careful Morelos. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's no way, if his staff didn't tell Stephen Gerrard that at half time, they should be sacked. Because if he let Morelos go back to the pitch, which he did, so that kind of goes against...
Was it a red card?
Mate, 100%.
Yeah, it's a red card.
I mean, 100%.
Actually, to be fair, he's right. It wasn't an elbow. It was made out of forearm.
What I don't understand is if the referee saw something and gave him a yellow, what's he giving him a yellow for?
Aye.
Yeah.
Do you know, he's giving him a yellow because it's dangerous play, but dangerous play merits a red card. Like,
I thought the yellow was for his
he's
new
looked at
haircut.
the defend.
I thought the yellow was for his new haircut. You seen it?
Fucking hell, man.
It's a belter actually. It's much better.
It's much better than the one up the middle.
It's better.
Yeah,
sorry, on you go, okay.
But he's looked at the centre half to see where he is, and then he's jumped. But it's the flaying arm. It's as if it's going towards him, and you're thinking like it's just a wee moment of madness that Morelos does every now and then. But it was, for me, it was certainly a red card. I don't think there's anybody can argue.
You're Gerrard there, but he didn't. Maybe see Morelos doing that.
What am I doing? What, at half time?
No, right then and there. Are you thinking about taking him off?
Nah.
No, then and there.
Nah.
Half time, no.
That's probably what he'd done, kept him on to about 60, 70.
No, I just thought, see when I seen it, mate, I was just like, how many times has this guy got? Because if he gets sent off, that could
undo all your hard work that you've done on
the whole season, mate. The last 2 seasons with Rangers, they've been in decent enough positions and he lets them down with something stupid. Yeah. And he's done it again. Like, he's only got away with it this time because the referee's no give him a red card. On the ref, I agree, I don't know how he's given a yellow card, but the only thing I was thinking of is maybe he thought he went up for a header and he's just swung his arm to the header. But it was two movements though. So that's the only thing. But anyway, if I'm Steven Gerrard now, he's out my team.
Is he right? What would you go, Roof up front and maybe a Rebo wide right?
Mate, 100%, or even bring big boy Ethan or on. I just think Morelos, I think he's a disgrace to Rangers, mate, a day.
Do you?
Mate, how many times is he going to let them down? I just find that. Listen,
and do you think he's only doing this because he's not playing well? Is it just frustration?
I would say so, but I suppose in the past he's been playing well and still done it. But even his attitude. Listen, I suppose you'd want your striker coming off being unhappy when he's no scoring that, so I get that. But I don't know. I just many times you can. If he was at, I'm not going. There's no point saying it. I just think if I'm Steven Gerrard, I'm just like, how many times is this guy going to... If he got sent off and done anything to go and win, it's another chance again that he's brought Celtic closer and let Rangers down. I just think something's got to change.
Would you keep him in the team, Kev?
I don't think they need him in the team. And if you look at the goal scorers, the goals they've scored, he's not in that top end of the charts this season. For all he's done...
But he's working harder, isn't he? He's bringing more to the team.
For me, when I watch him, what's happening with Morelos right now is just pure down to frustration. Frustration at not scoring the goals he did last season. Frustration is maybe not getting enough minutes that he would probably like to get because he's obviously chopping and changing the team. I think there's 6 changes yesterday. So it's just frustration. So what comes with frustrations is you try that wee bit harder, and when you try harder and it doesn't quite work out, you get so frustrated. And he's obviously just trying to put himself... Look at the diagonal ball from...
Roof, what a ball.
What a ball. Great touch.
Caviar.
And it was the second one was a bit sloppy that allowed it. Whereas the Morelos of old would have took that touch, opened his body and buried it, and he's not done that. And I just think it's
what did it? Sorry, buried it. Oh, buried. Sorry,
buried it. Buried. So it's just frustrations for me. And Slaney's point, totally bang on the money in terms of had he got sent off yesterday, that could have cost Rangers maybe a draw, maybe a defeat that allows Celtic back at the title. You can't have that when you're that far ahead now. You've got to be pressing on. You don't want somebody. So there's questions to be asked, but that's up to Steven Gerrard. Morelos is a vital part of the team and how they play.
Yeah, but I'd also say if you were to ask other SPL defenders, they would rather Morelos no playing. Yeah, I don't think they like playing against him.
It's solid, man. You see how strong he is in the box. Like that boy Connolly was trying to wrestle him in the box, and Morelos is still strong enough to hold him off and get the header in. Unfortunately, he missed, but he brings a lot to the team.
Yeah. Yesterday, he was poor yesterday though, wasn't he? He's finishing like...
he was snatching at things, wasn't he?
But that's just maybe confidence, frustrations. Once they start going in, they'll all go in. And we talk about the no being sent off. Some of the times that he was sent off for stupidity that maybe was a bit over the top, sometimes they balance himself up. So maybe for one bad red card last year, that one, it's weighed itself up. That's the way I see it.
I think the Rangers now as well, they've got much better squad to deal with that. Morelos is going to act up, get him out and bring somebody in. I think that's
it. Dundee United. I thought, with Shankland and McNulty, I thought they looked dangerous going forward. They've just never done it enough. But I think that's doing it. Rangers pressed so well, mate.
The first I thought...
Dundee United couldn't get out their half.
No. I thought Dundee United were brilliant in the first half.
They
obviously lack quality, but they're right up for it. Every challenge are right up for. Obviously going to be hard against Rangers. I think I don't know if second half Rangers were very good. I thought Dundee United didn't get a sniff.
Couldn't get their half.
But I think Dundee United, I was actually really impressed with them. They've learned so much from the first game at Ibrox to now. You know what I mean? I think they've come all out. They were harder to beat, but I thought Shankland done all right.
Shankland was good, mate. You could tell he's a player. He's touching, he takes it in.
You really need that. You need a guy that's going to hold it up, Simon, when you're playing against teams like Rangers and stuff. So I thought he'd done well. Really impressed with Mickey Mellon and Stevie Friel, the duo that they are. Was unsure about the two of them.
How much do you think they're eating at lunch?
Maybe they do like if they've been eating a hell of a lot. But as I said before, you will get the best out of Stevie Friel when you let him go wild. And he's doing that. Mickey Mellon is really letting him go wild. And they two are doing great. But
what sort of stuff is he doing that's wild?
No, just Simon in the buffet.
Oh, right, they do it.
Aye,
so as long as he's got a full stomach, you'll get the best of Stevie Friel.
Stevie Friel's walking in with crumbs in his belly. That team is very happy.
Kev, Dundee United, could they finish in the top 6?
Aye, definitely. Right. I think they've got great attacking options, and what I liked about Dundee United yesterday, and for all the teams watching, the question is how do you kind of stop Rangers at this moment in time? I think Dundee United showed yesterday how moving the ball quicker, nice wee short, sharp passes, and then looking for that out ball. So yesterday their goal came for a few nice moves in the midfield, diagonal over top of Tavernier, good cross, the other fullback coming in, being the guy at the far post. And when they attacked, they had Rangers looking a wee bit vulnerable because of the quickness and the movement and stuff of the two guys up front. One going long, one coming short. McNulty's quite fast.
McNulty was good, I thought.
McNulty's fast, yeah. Shankland, for me, you could see yesterday, for all his touches and what have you, he's been lacking games, and that's maybe the sharpness that he didn't have yesterday, because there's a couple of opportunities where you thought maybe the Shankland of last season might have got that on target or made the keeper work, but Dundee United definitely have got more about them than where, like, I think top 6 wouldn't be an unrealistic proposition for them.
Alright, on to Celtic. Is there more optimism this week, Paul?
Absolutely.
In the back? You're going to say it?
What I'm going to say is, I heard thunder rumbling last night. Neil Lennon has brought the thunder back for a second time.
I thought you were going to say Paul the Tim.
There you go. Sorrow.
Was that not his Paul the Tim's stomach now?
Absolutely. Hey, I'll tell you right now, they are back. And I can see it. And I'll tell you who else is back. Neil Lennon. The Europa League game, bottom of the group, doing that at the fourth official at the end. He's back, he's running about, and I'll tell you why. Feed the bull. Turnbull. That man, I grew up, my family used to always take us to Spain. My man, dad, the cheapest deal
Your
gone.
mum and dad fucking took you everywhere, man.
Costa
Brava.
Brava.
You played poverty.
We were Simon and I always talk about it. See the people say, I grew up with a bad life. Lot of nonsense. Grew up, because when you were a boy, you didn't know you had a bad life. Me and my brother and sister shared the same bed. What's wrong with that? Simon, they took us to... Simon, we went to... A single bed, listen. Hard on the bottom, me and my brother up the top. And here, Kevin, Costa Brava we went every year, right? Costa Brava, I've never seen the hotel we were in, it was crazy.
Would George wear the Speedos?
Speedos. The
Pubes hanging out his side.
Aye, pubes hanging out. The check here, the flowery shirt, opened up, put me belly out. Here, mullet, he used to have a mullet. That's my old boy. And you know what
did he wear on his feet? Timberland?
No, he used to wear...
Birkenstocks.
What's the ones you wear? Clogs? No clogs. What's it? What do you wear in hot? Sliders? Is it sliders?
Crocs. Crocodiles. Crocs.
So what was my point?
Right,
so,
what would she wear?
I'm going to say it, I'm going to do it. She used to wear sussies. There you go. Not at all. She used to dress very immaculate for us all. But Simon, what I'm going to say is, my point is, we used to go to a hotel in Costa Brava, right? It was very, very cheap. Very cheap. We used to be Dutch guys, Dutch and German. What's that called?
Was that where for the Dutch
Absolutely. But it's a mental story. No mental, it's nothing in it. There was millions of Dutch and German. What's that called? Tourists. All the young groups that came.
Aye.
So they were all in the hotel when we used to get it. But there was a wee boy called Dice. This wee Dutch guy called Dice, right? Wee baldy guy. But mate, he used to just go up and go like to people. Can always hit them and all that, right? But there's no story to that. I'm just saying this is the type of hotels we went to. Right. But he used to always see when my dad came in, he used to always shine a laser pen in my dad, right? But this is just a bit mental. But my point is, where was I going with the bill? Also, the reason I'm in Spain is I used to fight with the Spanish because I despise bullfighting, what they done to bulls. But see David Turnbull, see when he walks in the changing room, not doing that. They are petrified of this bull. David Turnbull is the scariest bull I've ever seen. And that young man has changed.
So do you think he's the man to turn the season around?
Yeah, I think he's the guy that's going to unlock the doors. When I signed for Celtic, right, you're generally based on your training performance out day in, day out. So you had to be at your very best, right? So see if you have a bad performance that week, you generally, the feel about the place at Celtic was, you may have lost your place in the team.
Next week.
That should always be the case. Now, I don't care what you've done in the past. Sir Alex Ferguson, David Beckham, Van Nistelrooy, Roy Keane, the best players that played with Man United at the club. Chadwick, absolutely, Si. Sir Alex Ferguson, when you think, oh, well, Beckham's done that, Roy Keane's won with numerous leagues, as soon as you're in the same performances in, you have to be somebody ready to take your place. And see now while they're in, guys like Sorrell's performing, see guys like your Scott Browns and your Ryan Christie Rodgers who've been left out, they knew when they come back in, have to put a performance up there or they'll not play. As simple as that. And and we're going to go into it, but for that team now, Turnbull and Sorrell have to be in that team every week until the performance drops and the other guys are ready to come in.
So what, but you can't just drop them after one bad performance for Sorrell and Turnbull, no?
No,
they don't need a rerun of games.
I suppose, I think my point I'm meaning is at clubs like at Celtic, generally there's you is almost somebody's ready to take your place all the time.
I get what you're saying.
But I get what you mean. Like, these guys need 6 to 7 games to get to see that. You're probably not even seen the best of them now. Do you mean? I've always heard it takes about 6 games, then you're full shot, whatever it is. But I think Celtic have maybe lacked that even in the last 2 years. That competition for places, it's been probably similar. And the same players playing, and it's worked. But I think now certain players haven't been up to the same standards, and that's why these guys have to commit. They've come in and done brilliant.
I was worried about Turnbull's career after his performance on here, but he's picked himself up. Kev, why is it taking so long for the Sorrell and Turnbull to get a chance?
That's down to the manager, because for me,
maybe being too loyal.
Aye, too loyal. First and foremost, and sometimes when you've all you've kind of known is success the time you've been there, and it goes the other way, you then question yourself, right, should I drop these guys? We think, no, they've done it season after season after season. I'll keep with them, it'll turn around. But what gets me is Celtic had an opportunity in the Europa League games to play Turnbull, to play Sorrell, give them a guys, because the Europa League kind of was done.
I agree with that.
So why not chuck them in earlier? So let's go back 2 weeks. Had they chucked in fucking Sorrell and Turnbull then, or 3 weeks into a Europa League game, and they produced that type of performance, and all you had to say as a manager would be, right, wee man, Sorrell, Turnbull, this is your fucking big opportunity, because the first team only doing it now. Yeah. They could have put in that performance, and it could have been the difference between Celtic being 13 points behind and 11 points behind, because they might have come in against, who was it last week in the draw?
St Johnstone and
St Johnstone. They could have won that game.
Yeah.
For me, Turnbull was always going to, it's still early days, he's always going to succeed at Celtic because he's a proper footballer. He was dictating games and dominating things when he was playing for Motherwell, in a Motherwell side that possibly isn't as good as the Celtic side. So how was he not able to get in there? Was it his performance in open goal? Was he on mute? Did he need to, now that we've slaughtered him afterwards, he's maybe came out of his shell, he's maybe a bit more vocal, I don't know, but ultimately, forget all the joking aside, he's a proper footballer.
Takes the ball in the half-turn.
Takes the ball in the half-turn, always, he's playing balls, he's making moves, whereas I feel that, nothing against Scott Brown, but I think when McGregor does that sitting role along with Sorrell, they're still forward thinking, whereas Scott Brown likes to keep things just moving, and I just think the change will be good, like Slaney says, with Christie being dropped, Brown being dropped. If they want back in the team, they're going to need to be doing it every day in training, and they're going to need to be ready, game ready when it comes, that opportunity arises, because it's going to be very hard to shift those boys because of the performances they put in the last 2 games.
I like Turnbull at times, he always looks for Edward. I only watched the highlights last night, but I always think when Edward doesn't get the ball, that's when he kind of starts.
It's the football brain, Simon.
Him and Turnbull 5 or 6 times are linking. That's what a 10 and a 9 should be.
Yes,
doing,
it's a football brain thing where Turnbull's got the ball and he's looking for Edward, and Edward already knows that he's looking for him, and it's what they do after that. It's the thinking. Whereas sometimes Celtic, for too long recently, it's been too obvious. And teams adapt to that, whereas now it's a bit more creativity. But it's still early days, it's only 2 games, let's not get carried away. But
Turnbull's playing the exact same way he played with Motherwell.
Yeah.
Shooting fair.
I love he just wants the ball the time, doesn't he? His delivery for set pieces is always
unbelievable.
good.
I seen him yesterday, there was a few times he could have slipped in the full back or whatever, he's gone for the shot, and I love that. That shows you a player it belongs at Celtic.
But not just that, I think it's helped Duffy massively, because now, see when they lose the ball, they're much better at pressing, because Turnbull and Sorrell are dynamic. They try and get the ball back quick. And Duffy's no left 1v1 at the back. So, good signs for Retu. Will he change it for Sunday? Will Scott Brown and Ryan Christie and your lights come back in?
I can't see it. For me personally, if he does change it, what message does that send to Sorrell and Turnbull? What does that send? Well, wait a minute, we've been in for 2, the manager's been on the shit, nearly potentially getting the sack. We've come in, won 2 games, slight optimism back, and all of a sudden we're dropped. I don't think that would send a good message.
I agree with you. You need to keep the same team. But after the game yesterday, Lennon said about the players that have got us here will need to be considered to playing. So maybe he is thinking about bringing the other ones back. And the only thing on that is I would keep that team, obviously, that's been winning the last 2 games, but they've got a league game, I think, a few days later. So maybe he's thinking about more concentrating on that league, which I don't think is a bad thing. But
he can't lose this game. No. I don't think, do you?
Right. No, it could be done if he loses that.
You need to win this game, don't you?
He needs to win the cup. It brings more positivity to the club. It brings an air of optimism that, like, don't get me wrong, Rangers are really, they're cruising, they're a lot of points ahead, but all you can do at Celtic right now is win each game, and whatever the best team is to win that game, that's who needs to play. Because the minute Celtic slip up, forget it. Right now, 7 points. If they win their 2 games in hand, you don't know. But there's still a long way to go. I think there's 24, 25 games of season still to go. So you can't say never, but you've got to win this cup final.
He needs to win because we now know there's somebody waiting in the wings.
Oh, aye.
Roy Evans.
I thought you were going to see Wee Dice.
Oh, Wee Dice.
Sean's boy.
So see when Wee Dice was doing that to George, your dad, what was your dad doing?
Try to grab him with the throat. No joking, mate.
What were you doing?
We were like that.
He was trying to hit him as well.
I was trying to hit my dad.
You trying to get his razor pen?
Oh, me and my dad getting on great. We are.
Honestly,
we watched yesterday I was up his house and we were watching the snooker together. We always watch.
Mate, what about O'Sullivan with Selby?
Mate,
does he know about 40 points behind?
Selby was on the black. Like the game was done. As soon as the black was left, the game's over.
Yeah.
So he kept on playing half the black. Wasn't let the frame finish. And then see through that tournament, kept biting his cue tip off. And at the end, they're like, "Why do you keep biting your tip off?" Like, he was like, "I was hungry." Mate, genuinely, we need to get O'Sullivan on. We need to do everything now to get him on. He's right up our street.
He's the man, isn't he? Did Selby beat him?
Hammered him. Did he? But it was a weird part because O'Sullivan was almost playing the way Selby always plays, like pure slow. I think he's just at the wind up now, O'Sullivan,
right, big Hazard in goals as well. Had a nightmare at Real Madrid, so playing in goals now. Looks good.
He does.
Some size of boy, isn't he?
He is a big boy, but I've not usually see with young guys coming through and that, you always maybe hear them. Have you ever heard like?
He was at Ayr, wasn't he? I think the boys said he done really well at Ayr.
Actually, he's Scottish, is he?
Northern Ireland.
Was he Ireland?
Is he? I thought he was a foreigner.
I would name, but you would think. I think he's fair at Northern Ireland.
Well, he's a fucking better Hazard than the 2 that were in before him.
They were Hazards,
because they were Hazards.
But generally, going to the stage, I heard a conversation, obviously, Lenny phoned up the board and was like, "Listen, I'm going to need to play Stevie Woods." Seriously. So, I think that's why he said to obviously bring Hazard in. Good on him. So Stevie Woods' chance still could come if Hazard has a nightmare.
Sorry, you always mention Hazard and then Sorrow and Turnbull and all these guys. They were all brought into Celtic because they were deemed good enough to be into Celtic. Just because they weren't playing didn't ever say that they weren't good enough.
Yeah.
They all just had to wait for that opportunity. And now some of them have got an opportunity and they're showing why they were brought to Celtic in the first place. So good on the boy Hazard. Like, I mean, he's come in, played well.
That's what it's all about, mate. Taking your chance.
That's taking your chance, and he might go on now and play for the next 10 years for Celtic. Who knows? But he's in there. He's got a chance, and it's in his hands.
Yeah,
but it's literally in his hands.
Just in. He's got 1 month left. Fraser Forster's making a return.
That's a good shout. I think that could happen.
There you go.
That could happen.
I'm very close with Big Fraser.
What's he saying?
And he just gave a wee hint.
Kev Ayer as well, playing right back. I think it suits him, doesn't it?
You said it ages ago. I remember you saying it. He said he drives on all the time.
He's
perfect for that.
He's the best. His best part of his game is driving forward to the ball. I always thought Ayer was like a midfield player. Do you know what I mean?
Right back's probably the best place for him.
He's not one of the defenders that loves defending.
No.
But what you get with him being at right back is you get a bit of height and a bit of power, a bit more strength. It's like with Frimpong sometimes. I think when teams play that diagonal, he's quite vulnerable to that. Whereas with Ayer, at least you've got size and power going forward. But fair play to Ayer's done well. But that only comes about with the other 2 doing better. So they don't need to put Ayer in there. Do you know what I mean?
I heard Duffy.
Mate, I'm sorry, but just when you said strength, mate, I'm just picturing you with your top off, like bench press. The jet squat.
Yeah, the jet just takes half him.
I'm going to text Billy or Jim now. I'm fucking feeling a wee bit.
It's unbelievable, isn't it? It's like chalking. The jet's just
with the weightlifting belt.
Tangible.
Feel his muscles. Feel his muscles.
You're
bulking, man.
I have not got any muscles.
What's happening?
Do you work out, Kev? Seriously?
Yeah, fuck. I've never been to the gym.
Didn't do weights or that?
Never.
Do you know that?
Nah,
I can't believe how humble he is, mate. We were saying that how the career you've had, mate.
Mate, somebody told me a story. It's in Niall. This is Peter. In fact, I'm not telling you that. Says it was a story in Niall Quinn's book that Niall Quinn took all you young boys out.
Aye.
With Norman Whiteside that played in Man United and you didn't have a fucking clue who he was.
No, I did. Norman Whiteside came up to Sunderland on the Tuesday. He worked for the FA doing your feet, like measuring your feet for insoles and things like that. So Steve Bold was at the club, Norman Whiteside and Quinny. So Quinny had said to Norman, we're going to go out for a wee Tuesday club. And Norman says, fucking perfect. So it was me, Quinny, Boldy and Norman, and I was a youth...
Steve Bold it for a drink with Steve Bold,
I was in the youth team, so because I'd arrived late for the youth team, I wasn't enrolled in the college on a Wednesday. So I was off on the Wednesday, and Quinny says, are you in training tomorrow reserves? And I says, no, I've got a day off. He says, why don't you quit the night with me, Norman and Boldy and myself? And I was like, only if it was allowed. So I had to phone, ask Pop Robson, the youth team manager, if I was allowed to go out, and then asked the...
I can't believe you asked, I'd have just went.
I know, but I was in digs, so I had to ask the woman at the digs if I was allowed to go, and they said, so Quinny picked me up. And went
lifted you up?
No, went out and picked up me in the car, went out to Durham, and there was Quinny, Boldy, me, Norman Whiteside and one other boy. And we were sitting drinking all day, and like obviously they're fucking Premier League drinkers. I was only 18 at the time. They were like drinking pints of Guinness as if it was going out of fashion. And I was only on the bottles of Bud, so about 20 Buds later and about fucking 20 pints for them later, Norman Whiteside tapped me, so big man, I had a fucking great crack with you today. Do you know who the youngest ever player to play, no, the second youngest ever player to play in the World Cup was? And I went, must be you. Nah, some called Pelly. I was the youngest. That was it, and I was like...
Because he was 16 or something at the World Cup, wasn't he? He's meant to be some player at Man United.
What a day out in the drink that was fucking... But Quinny wrote a story in his book pretending I didn't know who he was. I knew who he was, I just didn't know that he was the youngest World Cup.
That's what Big Charlie Mulgrew says, isn't it? Never a lie getting away a good story.
Exactly. And he's told a few of them.
He's Norman Whiteside, coming out of my cage and I'll be doing just fine. Gotta be down because I want it all. Started out with the kids, how did it end up like this? If it's only a kid, now I'm falling asleep, I just call it a kid. And he's taking a drink, and I said, he's Norman Whiteside.
Sensational. Scottish Cup final this weekend. Split loyalties for the boys, isn't it, Andy?
Aye.
I hope Celtic win and Andy goes up with them.
Andy goes up to get the trophy.
Nah, mate, listen.
We're still not in the game, by the way.
Well, mate,
who's in charge of Scottish football? Get us in, man.
I know.
It's a disgrace.
I'll be gone. I'll find a way to go. We need to make Andy's out playing and Celtic, so go to fucking we've got to be there. I don't know how many times I'm going to keep saying it. Forget the jokes, forget the nonsense.
Forget. What was that I said?
That's at the best of the game it is. Take that aside. When we're talking about the game, we're the most fuck Kennedy. But no, here, listen, everybody knows we're the best talkers in the whole game, talking about the game.
Yes.
So make sure we're there. We're better than any of them out there. Come on.
I agree. Hearts v Celtic, as we've said, how can you see this differ when they crowd? Because Hearts v Celtic usually great atmosphere in it, both sets of fans.
Andy will be disappointed there's not a crowd because then nobody's there to shout his name.
Celtic fans.
But ultimately, I think Hearts will give Celtic a game.
Yeah,
definitely.
6-1. He actually sent me a video of one of his passes.
Did he?
Sent us a video. You want to see it?
Aye.
No.
Can we get this up on the screen? Where do you see this pass, by the way?
What is it?
That was his game.
That's what I was wondering. I was thinking that Andy.
Wait till you see this pass, man. This is unreal.
Was it a thread needle?
Right, here's... Oh no, this is him now, look. Watch this.
No.
Oh my, what?
I think the right back ourselves were tied together, man. For fuck's sake.
So there you go, that's what he brings.
What a ball.
That's tremendous, isn't it?
That was a decent pass, aye. That's what got me moved to Hearts in the first place.
But the thing is, we're finally going to get to see it. Halliday v Duffy,
How
man.
does that happen? Do you know what I mean?
That's fate, innit?
We were talking about that in the summer, all of that build up, and then now it's happening. I know I asked before, do the players shake hands now?
I don't know. No, I don't think they do because of the corona.
Because of the corona. Duffy's going to fucking... Duffy and Andy's going to come together and Andy's got to pretend he's hard as fuck and then run away, isn't he?
It's going to happen. There's going to be a 50-50 in it. I'd love him to shout out at man.
I would love Duffy to fucking put me up there.
I would agree with that.
Because if Andy gets him right, it'll be good, but if Andy coming in here, I'm not going to say it anyway, but fuck.
He'll not come in here if he gets hoofed.
No, thank you. I don't think he gives a fuck.
No,
thank you.
It's going to be a good game because Celtic, like we say, two wins, being a wee bit more optimistic. But Hearts are... Andy did say, to be fair, that Hearts haven't been playing well, but getting a result. Maybe Saturday was the one that they played well and got the goals that they should have done, and that might give them a wee bit of confidence going into Saturday. But it's a cup final. Anything Hearts and cup finals have seem to have a good relationship. So.
They've got good quality. See when you look to their team, Boyce and Naismith up front, it's a good team.
It's a Premier League squad.
Top six, a Premier League top six squad. And you've seen, listen, if anybody thinks it's going to be a walkover, clearly no. 2 weeks ago, Celtic beat Ross County in a one-off game in the Cup. So these things can happen. Celtic's record at Hampden semis and finals have been unbelievable, but the current form hasn't been up to standards. And I think Hearts will be quietly confident. I think
Nielsen's good as well, mate.
He's a very good manager.
You'll go on with a plan, won't he? It's not just turn up and hope.
Very good. He's a very good manager. I think Celtic will see it at the line. Just think too much quality in the end, but I think it'll be a fascinating game, guys.
It'll be tough. It'll be close.
Right, Kev, prediction?
I think that somebody will win it in extra time.
Oh, do you? Mm-hmm. Oh, and who's that somebody? You going to tell us?
I don't know, because I think when it gets to extra time, it's a
lottery.
A lottery, and I just think that I think if Celtic start the game well.
No, they never. I don't think they started well Saturday.
They haven't started well. They started well against Lille, but then they start well against Kilmarnock Saturday. See if they start well and score an early goal, that settles everything down, and they might kick on from there. But see, the longer the game goes 0-0, that will give Hearts confidence that right, wait a minute, they're a bit shaky. So I think personally it might go to extra time. It might be a bore fest, but then again it might be fucking end-to-end stuff, and it could be 3-3. Who knows?
Paul,
I think it'll be Celtic 2 at Hearts 1.
I can see it like a win as well. Right, Chipper. We've lost the bus driver. Can't lose Chipper as well, can we?
Nah. The only positive again, as I said about Holty, is...
He was on the radio, sorry to interrupt you, mate, but he was good.
I thought it was Charles McGrew at first.
Did you?
His voice, have you heard that? No?
No, I've only heard Charles on his new TV show.
Mate, I've watched that TV show.
He does notice the big...
I sat it down right.
Is it bad? We need more of Charles doesn't get enough airtime for me.
No, I think... Mate, I sat down with Lynn, watched it, and Lynn's obviously glued to it, thinking it's great, and she thinks Charlie and his wife...
Glued to our line? Glued to our line?
Aye, glued to the line. She was a wee bit further over than the D90 goalie, but she was fine. But she's been watching it, and she thinks Big Charlie's coming across very well, and his wife
Alana's good on as well.
Amazing. The two of them are brilliant. But
gorgeous couple.
Big Charlie's dishing out the relationship advice to Bradley Dack. Fucking car crash TV, but it's brilliant.
Oh, it's brilliant. Have you seen it yet now?
I'm not having him, by the way.
Dack, no, he's a good lad.
I didn't message Charlie though. I'm going to a confession, try to get on it.
Imagine you, Laura, Charlie and Alana and Olivia and...
I want to get into that life now. Do you know what I mean? I want to be in the showbiz life now. Do you know what I mean? My life getting pulled out on TV, I want that.
I'd love to see you in like a Celebrity Big Brother or a Jungle.
Oh, mate, I would be unbelievable. Like the stuff,
you'd want, mate, 100%.
Because the thing is, right, and I don't sleep. Genuinely, I never ever sleep. I wish I did, but when I'm on these shows, mate, I wouldn't sleep. So I would be up to everything.
But like...
With the level of Z-lister that's on like these TV shows, mate, and Slaney being an A-lister, it's like a wee bit of good PR, a wee bit of good agent, he'd be on there and
mate, I'm a celeb there. I didn't know any of them.
Pathetic.
Apart from Alfie Moon, he's the only one, but he's an embarrassment, I know.
He's an embarrassment as well. Just on Chipper, 4-0 defeat. It just looked easy to play against Hamilton. I hate to say it, but I think this will be the year, don't I? But Ross County are struggling as well, so... And see if it's going to come down to a fight, Hamilton have been better as an experience of staying up. But I still think that Ross County have got better players than Hamilton.
It's all right having better players, but if you can't get results, it means nothing. Chipper, great guy, comes across very well on the TV and stuff. For all the joking aside, like I would love to see him succeeding, and him succeeding is keeping Hamilton in the league another year. But It's going to be tight, I think. I think the points deduction and the handing of points out here and there has helped. They got a good result last week. They won 1-0. Would you have fancied Hamilton to get anything off of Hibs this week? Of course you wouldn't. And I think they understand that. But I think Hamilton's season will be decided with the teams around about them. It'll not be against your Hibs, your Aberdeens, your Celtic Rangers. It'll be the Ross Counties, the St Mirrens, the Livingstons. That's where Hamilton for me this season will be decided.
If Gary Holt's driving the boogie bus down London, where's Chipper going to fit in? What's his role in the bus?
Chipper's up the back leading the fucking...
Chipper's
up the back, sitting in the fucking middle, dictating things
like Begbie for Trainspotting.
Sitting there saying, how you, fucking Chipper's on tour.
We need to give a shout out to Paul McGinn. He scored another goal, right? Great guy, Paul McGinn. And I think his brother's obviously at Hibs now, so they're back in the bunk beds. I think it's just bringing out the best in both of them.
Unbelievable. His goal was like Keegan's the other day.
What a finish, eh?
Unreal.
Top bin.
But no, here, Hibs are unbelievable.
Hibs have got a good team.
Jack Ross, as I said, did I not say months ago, best manager in the league? Did I not call it?
And so what, would you still stick by that?
Absolutely.
Right.
No, but here,
they must be kicking themselves to with the Hearts result.
But I said at the time, it was the most disappointing Jack Ross's, maybe when his career, but it was so disappointing because how promising they had been. He's a really good manager, he'd got them really playing and they just didn't turn up that game. All credit to Hearts, but Hearts had barely played a game at that time and Hibs should have ran the tap for them, mate. They should have.
I agree, he is a good manager, but I think he needs a trophy, doesn't he, to his name?
If
he's going to get a big job again, I think he needs to win a cup.
That's why you're saying there he'll be kicking himself. Like, would Hearts v Celtic, you're thinking Celtic probably might have enough. Whereas we go Hibs v Celtic in the current form, you think Hibs tough one to call. Yeah. So that's probably why he's kicking himself. But the time will come again. You know what I mean? There's going to be opportunities. The Scottish Cup's coming around the corner, and like you say, Si, I think if he was to get a trophy under his belt, because obviously promotion from the Championship into the Premier League with St Mirren is some sort of trophy. But I think at that time for me, St Mirren did have a big budget and possibly should have got promoted with the players they had, but he still had to do it. So. Yeah.
Right, last wee bit, lads. I've enjoyed this.
It's been nice,
it's been good. It is. I've been stuck in the house, man. Nightmare. Man U, Man City. Was that the worst Manchester derby of all time?
Absolute disgrace.
Shy, wasn't it?
Utter disgrace.
How can you play for Man U or Man City and not be playing to win football games?
I don't.
It drives me mad.
De Bruyne kept looking around to Pep going like, what are we doing here? Did you see that?
No.
3 times he looked around to Guardiola and was like, there was nobody in the box for him. See with Man U, nothing surprises me now with him, with Solskjaer and the idiot agent coming out and saying, Paul, right, nothing surprises me with him now. But see, Man City, like they've done it for Leon in the Champions League last year where they're playing 2 defensive mids. They've not been what's changed with Guardiola? Like he should never have changed it. I couldn't believe watching it. I'm telling you that is
usually like press high up the pitch now. It was just like, it
was as if they wanted a draw.
Mate, it's like 12 games into the season or something.
But mate, see Man U and Man City, look at the table, they're close to the tap because Liverpool and Spurs, Liverpool have dropped a lot of points this season, whatever, and so has Spurs. So Leicester's nearly tapped as well. Yeah. So they're all in it. So a win was so important.
I know.
Mate, and then even after the game, Stones and Maguire, mate, this is what I don't get.
We're going to come to that, but right, on you go.
So this is what I don't get, right? I always talk about, like, I was nervous and playing and all that, right? See, when I didn't win a football game, I was the most, I had to go off the pitch, I didn't shake people's hands. And I remember the manager was always saying, like, listen, I just seen you walking off the pitch, you always shake hands, right? Now that's a respect thing, I get that, but that's how bad I felt. I was so gutted that I didn't win, didn't want to speak to him. Mate, they're playing in a Manchester derby, and probably the most eyes in the world watching it, and they're curling laughing after the game. Even the managers are laughing.
You can do that away from the cameras. Walk off the park and look disappointed, and then have a chat with the people in the lounges, whatever it is, after
and
the
then
game.
You can go and hug and
aye, but see, and that way nobody sees it and nobody talks about it. But when you're coming off a Manchester derby like that, and the best talking point was probably fucking Roy Keane's punditry,
brilliant.
There's something wrong, something seriously wrong.
Right, I do think he's brilliant, right? But do you know what annoys me about him is, see, he slaughters the players for that, right? But see, when Solskjaer, his mate, does it, not a word said.
No, I know. I agree.
So you sit there and slaughter the players, but see, when your mate gets beat 3-0 and he's up shaking people's... Is that no...
Mate, if that's anybody else but Solskjaer, Keane slaughtering them.
He's getting slaughtered.
Slaughtering them.
I know.
Because Micah Richards asked if he was the man to take Man United. Man United will never win a league under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, will they?
Never, mate, never.
See this year where the Liverpool have dropped a lot of points, Tottenham have performed better than the end of last season, Manchester City have dropped a lot of points. So see if there was a time for Man United maybe to step up and look like winning a league, was probably this season. but they're fucking miles off it. So if they can't get anywhere near it this year, how can you see them getting anywhere near it next year and going forward? For me, the club stinks now because of the whole Pogba situation. That's all we seem to talk about. Is well, no, because we don't talk about it.
Agent, man.
The agent, the English media, the things like that. Is Pogba and his agent Raiola. It's a lot of fucking shit. It's just like, remember the days when Man United were so successful and you talked about how good was Giggs today or how good was Beckham's free kick or whatever it is. We don't talk about that anymore.
Do you know what really done me with Pogba? I didn't like jumping on him all the time, but did you see the warm-up? You had an earring in. Mate, just take your earring out before the warm-up. Why are you warming up with an earring?
Doesn't care, mate, does he? Doesn't care. But see if that's a Klopp in charge, let's get back to Sir Alex.
Imagine Klopp loving that, mate.
Mate, see after a week they put the door. It would be nowhere near. I know people are saying it's higher up. See Klopp guys like that and Sir Alex Ferguson, I mean, it wouldn't make Beckham get put out, Real Madrid, whatever. These people
Respect's
get out.
disappeared.
Mate, football, it's not rocket science, man. Like, see the team that works the hardest, Liverpool, they win leagues.
Aye.
See Man United, you walk about and jog about, you're not winning anything.
See guys like that, mate, with Pogba and stuff like that, see them about the place, you know it's going to cause a bad atmosphere about the place, so you're never going to date with guys like that in there. Like, his agent coming out, I cannot believe that. Like, that's came for Pogba. There's no way you're allowing your agent to come out and say that.
Nah, your agent tells you what he's going to say before he's
when you speak to your agent and you're not happy about stuff, you come to a conclusion at the end of that conversation and you decide to him
what happens.
Yeah. I've got sorry, Kev.
No, for me, don't get me wrong, who are we to argue with this agent because the guy's made some unbelievable big moves.
Aye, and we're going to make
many players.
We're going to make big moves, I know, and big money. So.
Aye, but I heard you were on the phone to him.
No, but listen to this. I've got a wee thing to say.
That's who you need as an agent.
That's who you need.
I don't need an agent at my age.
Somebody as arrogant as you probably that guy, innit?
Aye. Here's what I was going to say. I've got a big point here, and I think you're going to really disagree with me, right? And it might be sort of a scumbag type thing today, right? But I'm going to say what I think. See, I keep hearing it now that people say the amount of pundits that sit here and say, "I'll never sit and say I want a manager sacked," or I don't dare. I don't think you should say that. I totally disagree with that. Nobody's saying that you want to be sacked. If you're coming on a show, a media show, whatever it is, to give your opinion in football, you have to be honest.
Yeah.
And a manager, Solskjaer, should be sacked. So it's not saying, "Oh, I'd be buzzing if he goes. You're not saying that. You're saying your opinion in how would Man United get better, or how would these. I hate when somebody goes like that. I don't want to speak about the manager. That's your job to talk about how it changes. I get why people date though, because it's a bit of respect and all. But hey, you're on the firing line. Put yourself on the firing line.
He's been in there staying that long. You can't see the Man United. You can't see them changing. Like when Mourinho came into Tottenham, they struggled initially, but this year a good pre-season under the belt, putting the players in right positions. They look a right good side. Defensively, Mourinho's always been brilliant, but it's how well Tottenham have turned attacking. They're Son and Kane, possibly one of the best duos in world football. But with Man United, nothing's really changed in the last year and a half that he's been under control. Nothing. You can't see them going this way. You can only see them going that way. And I think in English football, this whole fucking philosophy thing with Pep's philosophy, Arteta's philosophy, it's not fucking working.
Nah, football's changed though, and it's like I've heard again, Pep's wee style of play used to work, but now at Liverpool, they've got more than one way of playing, didn't they?
You've got to have more than one way. You've got to have that expansive, free-flowing football, but at the same time, you need to be able to do the ugly things. Yeah. And I think Liverpool do that well, whereas Man City can do all that well going forward, but when it goes the other way and they need to dig in deep, I think sometimes they become fine watching.
Liverpool are just animals, aren't they? Animals, mate.
They shouldn't be competing now. The amount of injuries they've got. They've got a defence. Van Dijk and Gomez is out. They're playing so
Henderson and Fabinho's finished. Was that right?
Mate, centre back.
Two centre backs.
They're bringing in the boy Curtis Jones is coming in. Trent's been out.
But Roy Evans has been taking the back four, hasn't he?
Unbelievable. Yeah.
You're right.
Mate, I'm going to say the new best midfielder in world football now. Sorrow. Seriously. He is. I don't care what anybody says, he is. There's nobody playing at his level. Seriously, there is.
But see that, I was wanting to ask you, Kev, see after a game if you got beat, would you take it in with you, or how long would you be raging for?
If I get beat after a game, I'd get in the motor and see that whole getting out the stadium and meeting fans by the time you get your motor, I'd be as quick as fuck, ignorant as fuck, into my motor, away home, and I'd be that down and devastated about it. I wouldn't even go to my fucking local Chinese to get my takeaway.
Really?
That's a big statement, right?
What, did you get it delivered instead?
I'd phone the neighbour to go and get it for me. But no, I would proper be fuming, and then normally when you had defeat, you'd be in the next day. So in the next day, and then that's when you would iron out all the things. You would do your DVD analysis, whatever it was, get it, and then you'd be like, right, we come in on Monday and we fucking forget about it and we start again, and that's how I would be.
I used to get angry, but even now I get. See, coming off the pitch in the dressing room, I'm fuming. But then as soon as I get my carry on the bus, I'm. See, but you're still thinking about it all weekend. See, if I get a ball with me, I can't think about it until the next Saturday. Whereas I don't think young boys now, because they've got so much going on in their lives.
You would never, ever, after the game, be storing cuddling people.
Do you think
I'm the same as you, mate. If I'm beaten
two sets of City, Man U, the Manchester Derby players, do you think they went into the dressing room and started screaming and shouting at each other? Or do you think they've all just sat down quite happy that we've got a good point today?
No, it doesn't. I don't think it happens anymore.
I think every time that we lost playing with Sunderland or Coventry, there'd be a fucking tear-up or a fight or an argument between two players somewhere. When the manager would go through things, somebody would pipe up. Gary Breen was always brilliant for it. He would always say something, and just you fucking Kyler, you having your fucking jobs with say. You fucking hold the ball up. It starts from you, and you thought, I'm fair enough, Breen, and that's how it is.
But see this, you can't shout at players anymore. Load of shite. Klopp does it. You see him again. He's like fucking waking up.
Mate, he kept saying it.
You can't do it. It's how you do it, mate, and it's
you can't tell me Jordan Henderson doesn't come in after the game and hear a word with fucking Salah if he doesn't move back. Whereas with Man U, Harry Maguire would probably turn and say, "Oh, well done today."
Kev, what was can you remember playing against Henry?
Aye.
What was it? Was it unreal?
That's a good link. Did you mean that link with the next question in mind, or are you just doing that?
Do you know? People always ask me.
Well done.
People always ask me who's the best player I ever played against, and I've played against some really good footballers. But see, Henry. He just was fucking unbelievable. Like, he was just like the breath fucking totally just took my breath away. We played Arsenal last home game of the season for Sunderland and we got beat 3-0. And I remember the ball came to me and as it was coming towards me, I was thinking of what I was going to do next. I thought, I'll take a touch and I'll get it out to the right back or the right winger. So as it came, I took my touch and as I went to fucking lay, I was like, where the fuck's the ball went to? Henry had chased me back, took the ball away, mate, and set Arsenal on an attack. He wasn't just a striker. The amount of work that he did for a team, and see when you stood side by side with him in the tunnel, he was 6'2". His fucking thighs were like massive. He was huge. He was just too good. He was just so good.
I must say, I do feel sorry for your mate Tierney. I thought he played well, but they're hopeless.
He's an animal.
The boy Granit Xhaka. I mean,
he's got to keep doing what he's doing, Tierney, and he will see himself out of that Arsenal team and at a bigger club
100%.
because he's too good for them.
What is Granit Xhaka doing? You're 0-0, you're struggling in the league and you go and grab somebody's throat. What are you doing?
I don't know. Does this mean thing? I'm sure this means a lot to me, this club and all that, and I'm a big captain. That means nothing, doing that.
I don't think it does, so it just makes you like,
I used to date people. So that tells you everything.
Put you two down as a manager, right? You're in the Arsenal job and you've got Ozil no playing at all. At some point you've got to go to him and say, we're bringing you back at the fold, because technically he's probably one of the best players they have. How the fuck can he not get a game? How can he not get in the squad and play?
I think it's just, I don't know, but I think it's a similar thing with Pogba, right? I don't know if Ozil is like that, but see if he's not going to run, his quality should be playing, but if you see this guy's not going to run and all that.
You can't win things with players that don't run.
I know, but surely have the technical player in the team who can create something and build the team around it. It's a bit like Celtic and I bringing Sorrow in, protecting McGregor or Turnbull.
Teams that winning, Kev, didn't hey, one player like you think of Munich and Liverpool,
there's no
11 boys that run about.
The weird
thing you need to hit off the ball is so important now in football. You can't have one person that, because if he plays the 10, mate, it just lets the opposition play out so easily because he doesn't stop them from playing. It's the same with Roderick for me when he plays for Celtic. That's why Turnbull's better. They're dynamic in terms of pressing the ball.
It was weird because he won the World Cup.
I thought when Ozil came onto the scene all the years ago, he was brilliant.
But Owen, by the way,
he was a great player.
What about Evra?
Evra, absolutely throwing Thierry under Gary Holt's bus, man.
Mate, what the?
Mate, see if you're Henry sitting there, you're linking, what has he just said, didn't you?
Mate, what has he done? Mate, he was like,
Evra just says anything to it, didn't he?
Mate, see me like, I've got a wee story to tell you. I was like, what is coming here? And then when I heard that, I'm like, that's the worst dream, innit? Because the amount of people you talk about, you're like, it's never ever going to get out. And then it does get out. Oh, Henry must be.
Did you see it, Kev?
I never saw it, no, but I was
Dave Jones actually went like, well, we can't actually quote Thierry on that. And he's like, no, ask him, he'll tell you. It's nice, man. That's us, lads.
That's us.
What's your favourite Christmas movie?
It's a Wonderful Life.
Is that good?
Oh, what?
I've never seen it.
What?
It's old fashioned, but
You've never seen It's a Wonderful Life, mate? You'll be great.
aye.
100% great.
Maybe you seen Polar Express?
Aye.
Aye, Tom
brilliant,
Hanks,
innit?
brilliant, really good.
What's yours, Freddie?
Snowman, Paul Tim.
No, mate. I was watching Jack. Have you seen Jack Frost? And he's greeting at the end when he goes away as a snowman.
Oh, that is sad.
That's amazing. What a film.
Home Alone's got to be up there.
Home Alone 2.
Home Alone 2?
How would you prefer one?
I like the one.
Oh, what's that noise?
No, I'll tell you my favourite
Here.
Christmas film.
I hear thunder rumbling.
My favourite one's the Christmas Chronicles, the first one.
I've not seen that.
Mate, that's fucking right up there with
Is it?
the second one's been a disaster. Come
need
out
to
the all
watch
week there,
what they're doing, man.
terrible. But the Christmas Chronicles, #1 is right up there. Your
Mate.
kids will love it.
What about Elf?
Brilliant.
Elf's
Aye.
good, innit? Elf's good.
Mate, we need to hurry up and get home. Fuck, that thunder's fucking getting worse. Fuck.
Lads, what a team, thanks
Come
very
on,
much.
let's go, let's go.
Superb.